In Chicago, we're known for a lot of different things, but one thing is specific, our pizza. And today what I'm going to do is show you how to make the ultimate Chicago deep dish pizza. I'm Chef Leo Spizzeri, and with my friends over at Sunmix USA and Pizza Goods, I'm going to show you the complete step-by-step instructions on how to make this dough and ultimately make this gorgeous pizza. Stick around. I can't wait to show you what's next. So let's get started. What you're going to need, I've got 680 grams of all-purpose flour. I've got 440 grams of cold water. Then to that, I've got 75 grams of corn oil, but you can use any type of fat that you like. Traditionally in Chicago, we would have used back in the day some lard, but use whatever kind of fat you like. Then I've got sea salt, 14 grams. I've got instant dry yeast, 10 grams. I've got 4 grams of non-diastatic malt. This is going to help us get a beautiful golden color, especially in a low temp oven like you have at home. And then finally, I've got some sugar. This is 7 grams of just granulated sugar. Now, let's go to the mixer and I'm going to show you how to put this all together. It's super simple. I can't wait for you to try it. I'm going to be mixing my first 5 minutes of this dough at 110 revolutions per minute, and then we're going to increase this to 210 revolutions per minute and finish mixing for another 6 minutes. To the bowl, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add all of my water. Then to this, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add all my sugar, I'm going to go ahead and add my malt, and then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and add my salt. To the bowl, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add all of my flour. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to let this mix for about 1 minute, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop my yeast in. Okay, we're at the 1 minute mark. I'm ready to go ahead and add my yeast. Now this is instant dry yeast, which means that it works in an instant. There's no need to bloom this yeast. It'll actually mix in with all the rest of the ingredients just fine. We don't have to worry about any excess yeast being caught without mixing. And you'll notice that after 1 minute, how beautiful of a job this machine is doing, just picking up all of that extra flour and everything from the bottom. Okay, 3 minutes of mixing has elapsed. You can see that the bottom of the mixing bowl is beautiful, nice and clean. We're definitely out of the first stage of mixing and into now that middle stage, intermediate stage of mixing. And then to this, I'm just going to slowly drizzle in my oil. And again, the machine is going to do a beautiful job all on its own, just taking all of that oil and then incorporating it in. Okay, we've hit 5 minutes of mixing and I'm ready to switch to the second speed. And just like that, we've increased to the second speed of normal mixers. 210 revolutions, 220 revolutions is about the second speed on most mixers. Now we're going to let this go to all the way until it reaches the 11-minute mark. What's happening right now is that we're allowing the fats inside of this dough to emulsify, and it's going to be very nice and smooth, almost like taffy when we pull it out of the machine. All we have to do is let the machine do its job now. Now you'll notice we're approaching the 11-minute mark, and this dough looks beautiful and super smooth. The bottom of the mixer is completely clean. The sides have cleaned up really beautifully. Here we are at 11 minutes right now. I'm going to stop the machine. You'll notice that my dough temperature was not exceeding. I wanted 23 degrees, and we achieved 23 degrees, which puts me at a beautiful temperature for this dough now to rise. And if I get my hands inside over here, you'll be able to see what a beautiful dough we've made. Okay. So now what you're going to do, you're going to take this dough, you're going to put it back in a bowl, you're going to cover this with some plastic wrap, and you're going to let this sit for about 1 hour. This is called bulk fermentation. At that point, we're going to take this dough, we're going to divide it into 3 portions, 410 grams each. Once we have that done, the dough balls go into individual containers or pans covered with plastic wrap. You're going to stick this into the cooler or your refrigerator. 24 hours later, you're going to come back, and now it's time to start making some pizzas. So this is my dough now that sat in the cooler for about 24 hours. And you can see that just covered with a little bit of plastic wrap. I'm going to pull this out and you'll see how beautiful and soft this has become. Now, to this, what I've done, I've got a prepared pan. And what I've done with this, I've just seasoned this with a little bit of margarine. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this dough that's now, you can see all those beautiful air bubbles. I'm going to push this down into the pan, and I'm going to press this to the point where you're going to see that we're just going to hit even across the bottom. I want to allow this pizza to kind of raise a little bit in the pan. And then once it's loosened up, after about an hour, at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it the rest of the way up the pan. This is the perfect time to preheat your oven to, I don't know, 480 to 500 degrees, depending on what oven you're using. And that'll be ready then for when we start to bake this pizza. As you can see how this rose in the pan, it looks beautiful, all bubbly and airy. And all I'm going to do is kind of just push down from the middle, and I'm going to redistribute these bubbles towards the edge. Now, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep pushing around in a circle just like this. Now that I have this pushed all the way through, you kind of see where it's at. I'm going to kind of take the sides of my hand here, and I'm going to push them flat against the wall. And what's going to happen is this dough is going to stick to that application of the margarine that I put. And it's going to keep it from snapping back or sliding down, all that kind of good stuff. I've got, this is whole milk mozzarella. These are slices, right? These slices are actually all about 1 ounce. These are pre-sliced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this mozzarella and I'm going to kind of push it up towards the edge, but not push on it as much as kind of lay it on the side. And what you're going to do is, for this 12-inch pizza, each one of these slices being 1 ounce, depending on how much mozzarella you like, right? Some people will go up to 2-ounce slices, so much thicker, so double the amount of cheese. I'm one of those people that I don't really like a ton of mozzarella. Obviously, we all like mozzarella cheese on top of our pizza, right? But I want to be more balanced, right? Especially with the amount of tomato sauce that's going to go on here. So you're going to see how I finish this right now. I went all the way around, and now I'm going to kind of overlap just to get into the middle. And then I'm going to stop. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, I got some sauce here. This is ground tomatoes, and I cook my tomato sauce. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just spoon this right into the middle, just like this. And then once this is spooned on here, this is about, this total was 28 ounce. This is about 28 ounce can of ground tomatoes. It balances out with all of that heavy bottom, right? So we've got this really thick dough on the bottom. We've got all this cheese on top. And then this mozzarella and this tomato sauce will kind of just all blend and marry together and make this perfect, beautiful pizza. So we got a full 28 ounce can on top of here. So you can measure it, right? So now that we like this, let me just show you here so you can see. I'm just kind of blend it all together, make sure there's no white spots on top, and make it really uniform. And then the last thing that we always do, this is always a traditional for Chicago pizza. We take a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese, just like this, right on top. Nothing else, right? Now, this is going to go into the oven. This is going to go for about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how you like it baked. But after about 25, 30 minutes, I'm going to pull this out of the oven, and you're going to see how beautiful this is going to be. So, last step coming. Stick around. Go put your pizza in the oven. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so the moment you've all been waiting for. Look at this beautiful Chicago deep dish pizza out of the oven. Let me take it out of the pan and see how we did. Oh, it's gorgeous. Just like that, pizza comes out, pan is clean, and let's take a look at this crust. Oh, yeah. Beautiful, brown, golden, steaming. Everything you think of Chicago deep dish pizza is right here. So please, if you learned something, make sure you put some comments into our DM or send me some messages. I'd love to hear from you. And please make this recipe. I hope to see you all soon. Ciao.